In the LCS.
More than once. That's what makes it so crazy. I don't know if we're going to have it this game. It's all up to Curse. Now that they're on the Rift, picks and bans seem to have gone the way that both teams want it, so neither looks to have the upper hand just yet. But level 1s, they show us a lot of different things, and with TSM and Curse wanting to be so aggressive in their gameplay, it could show us anything.
Yeah.
You've come to kill me.
Yes, he has come to kill you.
I hope you brought friends.
He did not. Very calming.
It is. I'm just hanging out. Want some tea?
I got some, actually.
Oh, great.
This will be an interesting early game, Riv. Calm.
Very calm.
The Caitlyn versus Sivir matchup definitely favors the Caitlyn because of her extended range.
Yeah, it does.
Yes. It's very difficult for Sivir. She has to shove out the lane early in order to stay alive.
I wonder if she'll be able to do that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right. Few pings going down. Breaking the silence. He's got a good set of lungs there. He just kept going. All right. We see the first trinkets being put down now as we kind of break out of somber mode and back into the fighting. On to the Rift here. Second game of the day. Team Solo Mid and Curse. We have an 11-2 Team Solo Mid. They still sit in first place. As Curse making their way up the brackets now at 5-8. So, or I guess the standings, not brackets really.
Yep. Trying to make a bit of a surge here. Fortunately, they lost yesterday. You can see junglers both starting with where the bottom lane would help them dominate, not getting a pull though, because this is a big thing in that bottom lane. How Cop and Saint want to hit level 2 first. They do not want to let Wild Turtle and X Special push. Therefore, they didn't help with I Will Dominate's blue buff.
See if they get level 2 in that bottom lane first, as they should. This is the interesting lane. Bjergsen versus Voyboy. We'll be sure to come back to that. We saw the LeBlanc versus Lulu last game. See how Yasuo fares on that. As X Special and Wild Turtle, they're pushed up to their turret this time. A little different.
Yeah, definitely level 2 first for Curse. As soon as that next melee creep dies, we'll hit that level 2, and we'll keep Turtle and X Special sat into their turret.
This is perfect. Now you get to see the method and the madness of the support last hitting, and then Wild Turtle trying to get the auto attacks in. We'll see how this affects. Already 11-6 in that CS, so they're getting it down a little bit. Multiply that by the next 5 waves, and you got a pretty good lead.
It can be kind of tricky to last hit a turret with Sivir sometimes, because you want to ricochet things down.
Right.
And sometimes Ricochet will do a little bit too much damage to a creep. It means the turtle killed on the next shot. You may just blow it away as quickly as possible. We'll see how big of a lead Cop and St. Fishes can accumulate on Wild Turtle and X Special here, because the team fight pick of Sivir is much stronger, kind of sacrificing the laning phase at the very early game.
Right. Cop has always been a very strong farmer, so this will just play to that suit even more for him. Make sure he has good gold, and we'll probably see an early Bloodthirster for his Caitlyn. See what the other lanes have for each other. The Zac versus Mundo lane. Something that, like you said, a lot of wet noodle fighting going on up
here.
It's
going to be a slapfest up here.
Yeah.
Definitely a good pick by Quas as far as knowing he'll be able to lane. The sustain that Zac will bring will greatly outmatch the damage that Mundo will be able to do to him. Only if we saw some pretty powerful ganks will we see any real action in there. It will all be about trying to deny each other last hits to maybe like sneak in harass or trick the other person to try and harass you instead of getting a last hit, because it's all about the farm up there.
Right, that's what was interesting to me, is usually somebody will take a Renekton versus a Mundo so they can push him to the turret, and then you get that gank really early. But we'll have to see how this Zac works. I'm quite interested to see where they go with it.
Zac's late game is very potent just because he heals himself for a percentage of his max health every time he picks up on those bloblets. So like late game, he is healing for really large amounts of damage in team fights. And yeah, once again, Mundo is normally the guy who wants to sustain the lane, but that's actually Zac's goal early on in the lane as well, meaning they're completely fine just farming up here.
Dyrus trying to be all BM and step on the blobs before Quaz can get to him.
Hey, that works now.
Yep.
There was once a time where the blobs had a really long amount of time before you could step on them and kill them, and it was basically worthless to try and stop Zac's blobs. Not the case on this patch.
You shut down that HP. He is level 5 to 4. Dyrus isn't too far off of that level, though. He's just getting pushed into his lane. Not in any trouble. Dominate looking to get some wards down so they can get vision on where Odd One is and at least play a little bit of dangerous game here. You know how Odd One, or rather Dominate, likes to be in the face of his opponents.
Yeah, no early counter jungling yet for Dominate. This would be the moment where they'd kind of want to go. But because the mid lane doesn't have presence necessarily, Voyboy has not been able to push Bjergsen in. Counter jungling is too dangerous of a move by I Will Dominate. So he's just got to continue to jungle on Lee Sin.
Curse is focused, a very close hook from St. Vicious there. 2 pink wards. One next to that red buff and one just below Voyboy in that mid lane. Maybe considering the gank they got from saw the Odd One do with Pantheon and Gyrus on Trundle the other day.
Yeah, those pink wards I think would have a lot more use if they were against an aggressive early game jungler. I don't think that Odd One is pretty much ever going to go there. So while those pink wards are going to last a while, they're not actually going to grant them much vision.
Right.
Because there's not going to be any TSM people there for a very long time. Maybe it's one of those situations where you put the pink ward down while you can, because it's not going to go anywhere.
Right.
But it's still a bit of early gold sacrifice for them.
Top staying up and farm by 10. Looks pretty even throughout the rest of the lanes, actually. There's no real definitive winner just yet, which has actually given the Odd One and Dominate both a hard time trying to get their ganks out. Wukong's not really one to come out as fast as Lee Sin either.
No. Wukong lost at level 6. When he gets there,
Yeah.
it's usually pretty devastating. So Dominate trying to get a gank in before then, here in the bottom lane.
Well, Saint has been able to grab that brush authority for most of the time. Dominate's going to go back for now. Missed that one.
Hook was down.
Yep.
8 more seconds. Dominate doesn't want to stick around. Meaning Odd One's getting real close to level 6 as well.
We
He's
just got
one camp away.
some level 6s in mid here. It wasn't last breath used just yet, but Voyboy did go in quite hard on Bjergsen. You can see him chugging down the last of his consumables. Looks like both will be back in here pretty soon.
See, this is why Yasuo is a pretty good pick against Lulu. He can block a lot of the harass that Lulu would put out against a lot of the other laners and at least keep his farm up. He's not able to really shove out Lulu very effectively, but he can still keep his farm up, which is Yasuo's one of his main goals in lane.
Ooh, got a lot of focus going on
You
here
got seen by
towards
that
the
pink
Wraith
ward.
camp. Quick Q in from the Odd One.
You should check the brush that the pink ward's always in. Everyone pink wards that brush. You walk by it twice.
Didn't get it that time. You are absolutely correct. So they walk by it. Pings in the bottom lane say Annie's still there, but it looks like this is going to be enough time for Cop and Saint now to back. A BF sword in the hands of Cop as he is a whole 17 CS ahead, and that only leads to consumables and boots over just the BF sword of Turtle, which is easy for a Sivir. She boomerangs all day.
Although boots on a Caitlyn are one of her most important resources because it's all about keeping the distance on your enemy, staying far enough away that Wild Turtle can never close. Did he really walk by that pink ward again?
Whoever said it, they were absolutely right. People do not like to walk in that brush.
They're trained from League of Legends to not check the brush, but now we got a teleport coming in and push him off the dragon.
This Dyrus coming
It's
down.
this weird psychology coming on. He knew he scared him off, so he canceled his teleport because he wants to stay in lane. But it's this weird psychology of warding where you're trained from a very early age, thanks to all Garen players, that you should always avoid brushes because something's going to be inside there. And now that there's pink wards, you actually want to check them most of the time.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
I feel like you just want to
Come
reach
on.
out and poke it.
He's going to get it this time.
He's got it. He was going right for it.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? They knew we were there. We must be warding there. Thank you.
The ward finally goes down. It definitely paid for itself. That's for sure. The pink wards are still sitting on Curse's side, but we can see they're sitting there because TSM hasn't really wandered over to that section of the map yet. They're only there to be taken down later. Bjergsen returns the lane, just goes for the ability tome right quick for himself, and another ring to stay alive against Voyboy's aggression.
You know, we're just looking at these team compositions. Curse would have to flank very well in team fights in order to come out on top. Just the synergy between Sivir, Lulu, Wukong is massive. It's so much AoE damage, but more importantly, AoE damage that can reach whatever target it wants because they will be so fast in team fights. If the farm fest continues like this between Curse and TSM and Curse doesn't make any aggressive moves, if I Will Dominate can't become involved on Lee Sin, it will be a pretty solid TSM victory. Curse needs to be able to make action, I'd say within the next 10 or 15 minutes.
TSM composition, it kind of fits the role of everybody can help themselves. You don't really need to turn around and peel for Wild Turtle on Sivir. He's going to on the hunt and get out. Everyone else is in the fight going at it, so it's going to be quite interesting to see what TSM pulls out here. The Dragon's still up. We saw the teleport stopped by Dyrus, so I think TSM's going to try to at least stave off Curse from doing it as well. They have about 1.5 minutes left for that.
Yeah, the Dragon would be a good force by Curse, I actually think.
Yeah, for now, with that down.
They would have to get some type of edge first. I think even walking into a straight 4v4, just Lulu, Wukong, Sivir, Annie, it's too much AoE in the Dragon Pit. Curse would have to either get a kill in a lane or harass someone down before they can actually go for the Dragon. Even a 3v4 with the Dragon might come out on top for TSM at this point in the game. Lulu is incredibly strong with a blue buff at level 9. Arguably one of her most powerful moments in the game. And especially Annie at level 6, support-wise, the Tibbers is immense as well. TSM, while they're comfortable farming, makes it very difficult for Curse to do anything right now as well.
You can see Bjergsen just getting so strong on Lulu right now with only the Fiendish Codex and that ability tome. The fact that he can start just poking Voyboy out right now.
Yeah. And Voyboy doesn't want to build Magic Resist either. He wants to get to a Static Shiv and his Infinity Edge as quickly as possible. But he's going to have to pretty soon. Well, that's a weird place for him to be right now. I Will Dominate needs to worry about Dragon Control because Teleport was down for Dyrus, but now that there's a Teleport up, it's an uncontestable Dragon. TSM just took.
Yeah, that turret in top lane wasn't really in danger of being taken down in any way either.
No, not really. They got caught in a bad place. Their overall map movement has been the weakness of Curse. As far as ranking LCS teams of, you know, having the right people around for objectives and initiating at very smart times, Curse ranks near the lowest. They have some good individual play. Their laning can be very strong. They're good at coming back in a lot of games. But moves like that are one of the reasons Curse is stuck with a losing record thus far.
Looking at TSM's wards to take that Dragon, they actually never approach the brush that has the pink ward in it. They've warded completely around it. You can see that's not really paying off for Curse.
At least those pink wards are still there.
They are there, though.
You know,
soaking up time. Especially
the one on the Dragon side in the river there. Me pointing at it doesn't really point it out, but it's the one on the lower side of the map.
I can see it.
Riv saw it. That's the ward that is giving them pretty good vision. They will most likely catch people walking through the river with that ward. And that one is paying for itself.
We see Dominate now in the bottom lane. They want to make sure they can at least get pressure on this turret. The next Dragon needs to be something they can contest, and with this turret here, it gives TSM pretty good upper hand on any control of that bottom side of the map.
Good amount of damage.
Good damage. They'll be back for it. 13 minutes on the clock, and it's only about 1,000 gold lead that TSM has so far. Bjergsen goes for the boots quickly after that Fiendish Codex, so he's just going for a little bit of the build and safety.
But it's 1,000 gold lead in the direction that it shouldn't be. TSM has a stronger team fight, so therefore if Curse wanted to be in position to win the game, they would need to be up about 1,000 gold right now. So they need a 2,000 gold swing somehow if they want to come back in this game. That can be turret pushing. They should put more emphasis on it, maybe pushing the bottom lane. They need to control around the next Dragon, but at that point they have to get Dyrus' teleport down somehow. There's a lot of things that they need to force out of TSM first before Curse could have an advantageous team fight, and they're just not doing anything. They're very comfortable sitting in lane farming right now because they think they have the edge in the team fights, and maybe they could. They just have to outplay so much. Yasuo would have to get in on a priority target. Quas has to get huge.
Yeah.
I just don't see it from Curse right now, team fight-wise.
That's actually a lane I was just thinking about, Quas. We talked to him and Dyrus just a little bit ago, and he himself said, you know, I'm definitely focused on playing more of what's in the meta right now, what everybody else is playing. And then he pulls out a Zac, maybe for you know, confidence against Dyrus, who plays consistent, so he can have a consistent lane. It seems like an odd pick after that interview.
Yeah, he's traveling back in time. Zac was huge in the 2013 season before he got hit with a couple little nerfs, but they were enough to take him down.
Yeah.
The pick does make sense in this situation for Quas. It's a good matchup against Mundo, but it's just Voyboy mid lane is definitely getting pushed around by Lulu. No surprise, Lulu pushes around almost everyone.
Yeah.
They need to find windows outside of the lane in order to make Lulu struggle. Much like we saw just now in that EG Cloud9 game. Pobelter's Lulu was forced in a lot of difficult situations. They're a very ultimate reliant team. There's a fight bottom. Oh,
there's the teleport coming in as well, and it looks like they do get the hit onto Copy. Throws down a trap. Xpecial flashes on the trap to make sure he eats it. And they grab the kill. First blood.
Yeah, and there's Bjergsen.
Second blood will
quite.
not be drawn.
But anyway, it's a very ultimate-reliant team the TSM has. When they use the Lulu ultimate or the Sivir ultimate, they're down and they're not very strong. So therefore, Curse should be forcing in between those. First, they have to force them to use them. Then they have to take their advantage. The fact they're not even getting the first down, he got caught shopping.
Hook.
Yeah.
That was very nicely
Flash
played.
into the queue. Might have to take a look at that again just to see. I think Bjergsen was just recalling, but now they would have that window. The Bjergsen ultimate was down. That was a good time for Dominate to go in.
Recalling next to a random ward that wasn't recently placed. That's half dead. So
Tibbers is still up.
great to see if that's the one that killed him.
Yeah.
Bjergsen getting back up soon, and it doesn't look like much can be taken off of that. But they do get the kill onto Bjergsen, so it's nice for them.
Yeah, 1 for 1. It means something. They only lost 1 kill for the Mundo ultimate, the Sivir ultimate, and the teleport.
Yeah.
Meaning they have windows. And yeah, let's take a look at this.
Oh no, so he did place it up.
He flashed in. Not too much Bjergsen could have done about that, outside of maybe moving away, but he had maybe a third of a second to react from that Lee Sin, and then he would have had to juke. That was a nice move by Dominate, specifically because of the vision control, flashing out of that brush.
Oh, taking a look at the bottom lane, St. Vicious couldn't do much about that last engagement. That was all about TSM taking control of a very good situation and a nice ward placed behind. Cop goes down, but he's still up. 13 in CS. We said earlier that Cop is usually one to keep himself on top, and he has the highest in the game so far. Damn.
Getting smaller.
He does get quite tiny when he loses that HP.
Passive out. Whoa.
It's going to be hard. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's Boy Boy.
Dive there for
He's
Boy
gone.
Boy.
You can see the damage item build coming from Wukong, completely wrecking him in the mid lane. They're going to be able to do that whenever they want. They're going to get this turret too.
Nothing else needs to happen for Team Solo mid, but to go steady with where they are in mid, take down that, possibly head top. Quas's turret is quite close to going down. So is Quas, actually. They're just really going hard on him. Dyrus going past the turret. You can't really get damage on the turret with the Sunfire built. You just take that aggro immediately. So he goes ahead and he's going to start proxy farming.
Yeah, good job of him farming in between the turrets. Going to force Dominate up at just the wrong time because Dragon's up soon.
He doesn't have his ult or teleport, so he actually oh, he gets over the wall. That was a thick part, too. Nice flash. Oh, dear. He's good.
Bad timing again, though.
Yep.
Look at the Dragon timer. Look where Dominate is. But yeah, let's just check out this fight. Comes in with the stealth.
Nice.
Double knock up, no escape. He tried. Burned his flash as well, but that was the chase. There's the fight of Dragon.
Oh my gosh, they are all over the place. Good save by St. Vicious. Looks like Curse is definitely trying to work on getting their wards up here.
Odd One wants to wait for his ultimate to be back up. Right now, Wukong is at one of his strongest points if you could just get level 11, but Brutalizer plus Spirit of the Elder Lizard basically means that the Odd One can kill anyone from 100 to 0 who's not a full tank at this point in the game, just with how much damage Wukong does. Great time to have a Dragon fight. He needs that ultimate up. It's up. This is so dangerous by Curse.
Well, he's only got 2 people to really not focus. You got Lee Sin and Quas with us tankiness. Specials to focus. What a Yasuo picking up 3 and putting them down to the ground. Is it going to be enough? Wow, Turtle forces the barrier actually out of being scared. Odd One tries to clone out, and a beautiful fight coming in for Curse. Bjergsen's forced to run.
Oh.
Turtle lives from the ace in the hole. I don't think Bjergsen's going to make it any farther out of this fight as he turns to go down by the hands of Curse.
All right, so despite the Dragon, they got the Dragon as well in that one because they flayed Odd One back. It was Quas being down there before Dyrus that really turned that fight, and they ate the ultimate as well. Really good job by Curse through and through there.
Oh.
Not only forcing the Dragon, but getting the team fight win afterwards. Exactly what they needed to start coming back. Being down turrets as well, can't say enough about this. And just check out how Odd One, even though he was in there with the ultimate, Voyboy plus Zac knockup was just way more potent. And they chased through the backline, so Odd One was never really able to spin where he wanted to. Plus, he hadn't hit level 11 yet on Wukong, whereas there was a level 12 and 11 from the Zac and the Yasuo ultimate. Really good moves there by Curse, chasing him down.
Very fantastic. We were waiting to see what the Zac would do for the team. Did quite a bit being in the right place at the right time, and that counts for Curse in a very good way. They're only down 1,000 gold after that. 20 minutes on the clock. At 4-3, that gold is really sitting in the form of turrets right now. Those 3 outer turrets for Curse are down.
One of the added benefits, or just kind of wild cards that Curse has in these games, is when they bring something like Zach back into the game, teams aren't necessarily used to judging him. Judging how he's going to do in a team fight, judging how the laning situation is going to go, what his initiation potential is, how hard he is to kill. And TSM, who's a very general preparation type team, does get caught off guard by picks like this. Nobody is playing Zach in solo queue, and that's one of TSM's main forms of practice, you know? It adds value to picking things like Zach against TSM, just based on the way TSM prepares.
We know Quaz to be the one to do that.
Yep.
He's going to try to innovate and roll with his own as he goes from game to game. That's how he likes to play, and it seems to be working out for him so far. 1-0-2. Really still faring well against Dyrus, who's been in the top lane farming and just using the teleport to wreak havoc when he can. And I think he's really fared the best as anyone has against Dyrus so far.
Yeah, he has been more involved, as well as sticking with him in the lane. With his turret being down, that hurts a little bit.
Right.
But overall, that team fight turn, I think, is more important than what Dyrus has added, as long as they can get back to that turret without giving up anything major. It's very difficult for Curse right now to get anything back in the map, because they're in that really bad situation of being down 3 turrets. It means their jungle is incredibly hard to protect. You can see now TSM
oh no, the pink ward.
Finally getting that pink ward down. But that was the first time they even went into that spot, so the pink ward really didn't give them much vision control.
Ooh. Pie to the face of St. Vicious. He backs off. They're going to get some wards down for themselves. TSM looks to take a little bit more of the map as they get rightfully greedy here. Like special. A little. Oh, I'm wandering in the forest. Look, I'm out of place. He's trying to bait somebody out, but nobody's there to see him.
And Curse trying the split push right now by Boy. Boyboy needs a little bit longer before he can get into those big items. He's sitting on 1,200 gold right now. He's going to need a bunch more for that Infinity Edge.
Curse has pretty good wards, so they're not really biting any of this at the moment. Quas getting backed up. That's good damage coming from just Bjergsen dodging the hook. And they don't even have wards in this brush.
Also notice how smart the Morellonomicon is on Bjergsen. One of the big things that made Zach powerful is the fact that he heals near the end of fights by picking up his Blobblitz. The Morellonomicon will cut that healing in half. This push is great because Boyboy's not near.
Yep. Looks like they're going to be able to get this turret. Will they decide to push on? It's all up to them. TSM definitely ahead in the team fight capability here with a bit of kiting. If they were to stay right in the middle of the team fight, I don't know if it's the same result. 23 minutes on the clock now. Still 1,000 gold. Curse has been able to find that one turret, but that's only because Voidboy is out of the fights, trying to get the split push going and get his team back in this.
I think it only takes one good fight from TSM to really take a swing out of this game. Just based on Sivir, Wukong, Lulu, all that speed they can add. If they do start turning the tides on the fight, it's going to be just a slaughter in that sense.
Yep.
But Curse as well, having to play from their back foot here. Everything is kind of reactionary to what TSM is doing. Vision control, their jungle itself is low. They're having to push out dangerously just to see if Baron is being taken. Really just trying to survive right now.
It's all so conditional. Curse trying to initiate in these fights. We saw it happen at Dragon. If it's on their terms, it doesn't look good for TSM. But TSM's Wombo Com is just going to do the same thing if it's on their terms. Very, very risky right now for both teams to be anywhere out of position.
And the risk that TSM is playing with right now is the fact that they can't necessarily tell, but the gold is very close in this game, despite the turrets being up so heavily. Meaning that if Curse were to win that one team fight, once they took turrets afterwards, it would be a monstrous swing in the overall gold of the game, and Curse would be up, 5,000 after just one big team fight. Whereas if TSM wins a fight, the map control would just get even larger, and then they can start controlling Baron really easily. It's an interesting dilemma these guys are in. This is a bit of a choke point, though, this next Dragon fight. Watch to see if Odd One can get in with the good Wukong ultimate, and watch who Voidboy gets on. It is very key that he finishes off Wild Turtle here. If we see the fight.
Voidboy,
there's the speed.
Right by the Dragon. Wild Turtle's in the back. He's right in the Dragon brush, and he takes out St. Vicious immediately. Voidboy goes into the fight on the Odd One and Dyrus. The only ones being popped up. Bjergsen and Wild Turtle are just on the outside, shredding down the HP bars. They only find 2, but a great fight for Team Solo Mid. The third in the blobs, rather.
Yeah, Saint got absolutely wrecked. Trying to peel. You're not going to peel much if you're dying immediately. That was exactly the type of fight TSM needed. And Curse going to be tough to defend that Baron. But yeah, just look, Saint died immediately. They peel back on him, which meant Quas couldn't get in on the back line, Voivo couldn't get on the back line. They jumped on Dyrus, as we said, and no one hit Turtle or Bjergsen. They could deal damage freely from the back of the fight, and that's exactly the type of spacing TSM needs.
God, Audubon was moving so fast in that fight. Bjergsen going on a 1v1, and he's going to get the E-Shield for the safety. They get Baron here at 26 minutes into the game. They're going to quickly waltz themselves up mid. Looks like they could actually get an inhibitor off of this one.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to get more fights in the open, though. Curse needs to make sure they position right here. What a tough Dragon fight loss that is for Curse. They waited the whole game for that, too. That was their moment to try and come back with all the farm onto Cop. And TSM just ended up getting it after the Baron. Big advantage opened up for them.
Like you said, if it's going to be one quick thing for TSM, they're going to take hold immediately. Now 42,000 to 37.5. They take don't get any turrets out of that. They got it previously in the mid lane. So with that Baron, they're going to easily now be able to take down turrets and possibly Curse taking down Bjergsen. The speed up goes on. Oh, the shield! He easily would have gone down from that headshot. Woo! Very nice lantern coming in. Dyrus is going to be putting a few down here. And I think Cop's going to be able to cut you out, Dyrus. This might be a bad idea.
Cop does pretty good damage right now.
Ooh, that minion playing block.
That's not going to get him either. But still, you can see the threat that Cop can present. Even against a team with Baron. He was trying to get that Baron buff off a few people, but now Curse has to get away. The initiation potential of TSM is too high right now.
That's that Cop farm coming into play. 40 higher than anybody else in the game. And he is definitely putting out the damage. He made Dyrus turn around in that situation. He thought it was going to be a 2v1. A little change of mind. He almost took out Bjergsen just before, so they're going to be giving him a little bit more credit. Probably a little bit more dive in the fights.
Yeah, Cop, with how quickly St. Vicious was dying in that last fight, doesn't matter necessarily if he can over time do a lot of damage. He'll need to farm up a lot more, 400 or so CS before he can really start dishing out the damage. Mundo is one of the hardest people to shred through, if not the hardest tank to shred through in the game. The flank.
This is what you said they needed.
Yeah. TSM has Baron right now, though. This would be a very dangerous flank buy will dominate, unless he got the perfect target kicked into the fight. First playing very aggressively outside this turret. They're in danger of losing the game if they lost a team fight here, though.
Yep, they got mid lane pushing very hard as well, so that's something that TSM can just fold on over to if this goes well for them. 28 minutes in, they're putting pressure here. Second tier turret. This would be the second one to go down if they get the fight, and they're just using shield after shield to get quick pokes as they wait for minions.
Yeah, this could very well be on the next turret. Dyrus just taking the Lulu shield and the Baron buff reach in to not even wait for the minion wave. But now the minion wave is perfectly synced up with the next turret. They're trying to parlay that first turret kill with the second turret kill because they know Cop had to go back to base.
Let's see what TSM has. Patiently waiting. I think they're waiting for Curse to really make a mistake here. That's one thing down. On the hunt goes, and that's Curse trying to get into the fight. There goes Void Boy. They got everyone almost knocked up. I think Bjergsen was the only one missed, but 2 kills coming in for TSM. It wasn't enough for Curse, and the focus of Team Solo Mid is just on point right now. It was on Cop, and now on St. Vicious for a quick ace and a quick 5 kills.
And we said Curse was in danger of losing the game right here. They got the fight on the inhibitor, and this is game rigged.
Going to be easy game. Dyrus taking up the turrets. 29 minutes in, 10,000 gold on the dot for Team Solo Mid coming in as Curse was trying to also get a little bit of that TSM win streak snap, but weren't able to do it.
No, 29 minutes. TSM takes it on top. You get the TSM chance.